So I turned to my kid and I explained that in Canada, kids under 12 years old cannot be charged with a crime. Uh-oh. Hey guys, this is Abadabadoo back with another video, and today I think we're gonna do something a little bit different. I thought we could scroll through Am I the Asshole Reddit and see what we find, kind of give some input to these people. Yeah, these seem to be popular, and I just thought, this is something that could be easy to, put out there and kind of maybe get the attention of a different crowd. I still want to play games and stuff, but I can always do other stuff as well. Kind of open myself up to a bunch of different people and what they might like. So let's get started. Oh, also, if you haven't checked out my Five Nights at Freddy's playthrough of night 1 yet, go and do that. That video is crazy. It took me forever to edit it, but I'm really proud of it. So go check it out and make sure to subscribe. All right, let's get started. Am I the asshole for letting my brother, his girlfriend, and my nephew live in my parents' apartment in my house? Okay. My parents live with me, not the other way around. All right. I own a large house with an in-law suite in the basement. A few years ago, my parents retired and I let them move into the suite in the basement. There are no stairs for them because my home is built on a slope so they can walk out. There are also windows that face the pond beyond my house. It isn't a dank little hole or anything. It also has 2 bedrooms since they sleep separately. Okay, that sounds pretty nice. Wow. I have the upstairs to myself. They do not have access except when we eat together a few times a week. I work from home and see clients privately. For that reason, my level of the house is very secure and my office more so. I have my bedroom, my space for seeing clients, my office, and a spare room on my level. It's a pretty big house, wow. My brother lost his job in November and had enough savings to last him until early January. He is somewhat irresponsible. Uh-oh. He has an education he just feels like it should have guaranteed him a better position in life without actually having to work for it. Uh-oh. His girlfriend is on maternity leave with their first child, besides my brother. I see where this is going. My parents told them that they should come stay with us since we have room. We don't. I do. Yeah. They showed up by surprise with a U-Haul full of their stuff. I wasn't home. They unloaded it and not my garage? And in my garage, maybe? Yikes, this is not going well so far. That is not good. When I got home, I discovered all this. I was a little upset, but I dealt. I called a moving company and a local self-storage place. Everything got moved out of my garage. Petty, but I totally stand for it because it's your house. What? While that was happening, I had a talk with my family. Good. I asked what was going on and got the full story. We sat in the dining room in my area. I gave my brother and his girlfriend a tour of my area of the home since they had never been here before. My client area freaked them out. My guy, what do you do? Uh-oh. What's your job? Afterwards, I ushered everyone downstairs and said goodnight. They all looked confused. I said that I hadn't invited them to stay with me and that they were guests of my parents. Oh. I mean, good for you because, yeah, it kind of, it seems like you don't really have room anyways. So, and if your parents have 2 rooms down there, yeah, they could just sleep together and then, your brother and his wife or his girlfriend could sleep in the other room. What's that? That doesn't seem like that big of a deal. I guess it depends on how many bathrooms are down there, really, right? I told them that they could stay as long as they wanted and to not come upstairs without permission. You seem awfully strict about this. Is this because of your job? That's interesting, but maybe your job. I was originally thinking therapist, but maybe you're not a therapist, my guy. They can't anyways. as both my front door and my door from the basement are dead bolted for security and privacy. Okay, either you've got a really strict job or you're paranoid. I hope it's the first one. My parents said that they thought I would clear up my office so that my brother could have 2 rooms. There's 2 rooms in the basement. What? I asked why they thought that. Since they hadn't asked me about it, they had no reply. Yeah, sounds about right. It's been a few weeks now, and they're still working out the kinks. Oh, that's what they do. Okay, I get it now. My parents like having their grandchild around, but my dad has problems with the breastfeeding. My mom and dad are sharing a room and not enjoying sleeping in the same bed. It's a little chaotic, but not my problem. They keep hinting that maybe my mom or dad could move upstairs. I reminded them that my clients expect privacy and discretion. It wasn't an option. The other issue has been parking. Parking? One spot in my garage is reserved for clients. Many do not want their cars spotted at my house, so they don't want to park on the driveway or the street. One client uses a car share service just for visits with me. Wow. Jeez. Are these like famous people? Anyways, that's the full story. I know I'm not in the wrong, but my family thinks I am. I'm posting this for judgment today so that they can read outside opinions. Feel free to ask questions. I will probably answer until this afternoon. Wow. That's crazy. Man. Jeez Louise. Well, your family seems a little overbearing that we know of. You could have more siblings or whatever, but they're all relying on you. And they're taking advantage of you, honestly. I mean, obviously. I think your brother needs to get his act together because I'm assuming they know what you do since they saw the client area. And having a child in that environment is just not smart. And that's obviously not your fault. You can't, like, stop your career or whatever. But I mean, wow. And yeah, like, you're technically in separate areas, but I would never put my kid in that kind of situation. We would have to figure something else out. And I wouldn't be mad at the person for having that job. Because you can't be mad at that person. We can't be mad at you for having that job. Just that is not a good environment to have a child in. And, I mean, this whole thing with the dad and the breastfeeding problems, it's like, okay. That's what, I won't get into that, but go in the other room if you're so upset, right? Like, that's crazy. Yeah, you're definitely not the asshole. That's ridiculous. I think originally I was like, why are you so strict on privacy? But now I get it with your job. I totally get it. You are not the asshole. That is ridiculous. Your brother and his girlfriend and their kid need to move out. Your parents should probably move out. I get that they're retired, but having someone like that stay in your home who doesn't respect your space and thinks it's theirs, it's not gonna, like, end well. So, you know, finding them something else to do, somewhere else to go, might be a good, thing to think about. But if it's not, you really need to have a strict conversation with them about this. All right, next one. Am I the asshole for cutting a girl off after being humiliated on a 3rd date? I was talking to this girl for like 3 weeks and we met for our 3rd date. Everything went smooth. She was the sweetest girl ever. I really tried my best to show off and give her the best time possible. Oh, that's nice. After dinner, we went to her place and everything went smooth when suddenly we started talking about deeper stuff of ours. When I told her something I truly care about, and want it to be taken seriously, she just exploded with laughter, started tickling me, and basically just ridiculed me for like 5 minutes straight. Why would she be doing that? I mean, I guess with just the laughter, it could be like nervous laughter. Maybe she's just not prepped for like serious talks yet. I don't know. My body just completely shut down and I couldn't even bring myself to hug her. Maybe I was too sensitive, but it just completely changed the way I reacted to her being close. That's unfortunate. Also, on the way from the first date to her place, or from the date to her place, she would, without notice, punch me several times in the lower back. She would literally make a fist and punch me in the kidney area, and told me to correct my posture. I was so confused with that. All I could do was laugh and take it as a compliment that she cares about my health. Looking back, what the hell? Yeah. I mean, for me, Like, if it was someone I've been close with for a while, I would appreciate it because my posture is absolutely horrible. I'm gonna have a hunchback when I'm older, but a third date, I mean, and everyone's different too, so you don't even know the other person's boundaries yet. I mean, keep your hands to yourself, right? I even thanked her for it, and she said that we would have to change a lot of things in order for us to work, even though she showered me with compliments from the day we met. Oh no, it's time to go. Third date, you don't know. She doesn't know your baggage yet. Unless you're like a really horrible person, she doesn't know your baggage yet. So she can't be already saying that a lot of things need to change on the third date. I mean, I guess how much time has been in between these dates? Because if it's like a few weeks, then maybe, because you're probably like texting back and forth throughout that time and getting to know each other. It really just depends on how close you are at that point. Because if you're really not that close, like 3 dates in the span of like 2 weeks or something, or 3 weeks, it's like, no. Yeah, that's not. The whole situation just left me confused and genuinely hurt. She tried to explain that these things are normal in relationships, but my intuition literally screamed, run. Am I the asshole for cutting her off respectfully after explaining that I can't physically bring myself to like her again? Here's an edit. We'll add this in real quick before we talk about it. Since some people in the comments wanted clarification on what I meant by the thing I want to be taken seriously, I described to her a recent betrayal from my really close friend of 10 plus years and how paranoid it made me when wanting to trust people. I know I shouldn't have brought it up so soon, and her ridiculing me for feeling that way just completely shut me down. For me, this topic is really important, and I was truly vulnerable in that moment. Sorry for not clarifying right away, but no, it was not about a weird kink, my favorite sports teams, or anything like that. Oh, that makes it so much worse, actually. I don't think, I mean, I think it's good to be open from the get-go. So I don't think it was so soon to talk about that, because you're letting yourself be open, which is actually you working on your trust. You're working on trusting people again by letting her know this, and unfortunately she just shut you down immediately, and that was probably hard, being betrayed by a close friend of 10 years and then finally opening up about it, and then that person shutting you down. That's, oh, you know, it'll make you stronger, right? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But this girl sounds like she has some issues that she needs to work through, and she's projecting them onto you. So no, you are not the asshole for cutting her off respectfully, as long as it was respectful. I'm really sorry about that. That's unfortunate. Alright, next one. Am I the asshole for explaining the consequences of his actions to my son? My family lives in Canada. This is important. My kid was being bullied at school. He's a big kid, and I've always told him to resolve his problems with words. Good, smart. I've told him to report bullying to his teachers, and if they don't listen, to tell the principal. Yes. Also to tell me and his mom so we can follow up. Yes. We are on the right track. Because when I was little, bullying was such an issue. I mean, it still is, but I remember, like, in Girl Scouts, we had a bullying day where we would talk about it and what we can do to fix it and help people not bully each other, I guess, kind of. Which, unfortunately, didn't really end up working because a lot of those girls just ended up bullying each other anyways. It was very, very unfortunate, but I am so glad that you are on the right track here. My son's after-school program is a Taekwondo class. Ooh. Also important. He's been in Taekwondo since he was in kindergarten. He also plays hockey. Okay, I think I know where this is going. There are a group of kids at a school that have been assholes to my kid and his friends. My kid did the right thing and told the teacher monitoring recess. She told him that the kids were new to Canada and that they didn't know how to fit in yet. That doesn't excuse it. That does not. He went to the principal and got told pretty much the same thing, so he told his mom. She wanted to go confront the parents, and she likely would have ended up in custody. She's Irish, like real Irish from Ireland, not Marky Mark Irish. I told her I would take care of it. Uh-oh. I made an appointment to talk to the principal and teacher along with my son. I went into the meeting with a simple goal: to stop the bullying. Yes. The principal and teacher both tried the same excuse on me, that these kids were newcomers and they weren't fully aware of how Canada was different from their home country and what they saw on American TV. It doesn't matter. They're not gonna learn. These are kids. You have to teach them. You can't just expect them to know, especially if they're from a different country. What? I asked what was being done to stop it. They said they had talked to the boys. I asked if the parents had been brought in and talked to. He said no. Okay, so I turned to my kid and I explained that in Canada, kids under 12 years old cannot be charged with a crime. Uh-oh. In fact, they can't even be arrested. Worst case scenario, if anything happened, he might have to do some community service. And why are you telling your kid this? The principal and teacher went crazy telling me that I can't tell him that. I asked them if I was lying. They both shut up. I mean, I guess if you're not, I pointed to them and told my kid to remember that they didn't say I was wrong. I told him to tell me in a week if he was still being bullied. My understanding is that all the bullies' parents were called in and told to control their children. The bullies were also given library detention instead of recess for a month. I'm satisfied with the result, but the teacher and principal seemed upset. My wife thinks I should have given him the information privately. Well, no, I mean, I wasn't sure where this was going, but that was kind of smart. Now, I guess we don't know if your kid actually did anything or not, but saying that in front of the principal and the teacher is probably what actually made something happen, because it seems like that was the moment where they were like, okay, we have to do something or else someone's actually gonna get hurt, which that is annoying. A lot of authorities only care if someone's in physical harm or danger or whatever, not emotional, which is also just as equally important. So they don't do anything until someone's in physical harm or in danger, like in this case. Which, who knows what this guy's kid could have actually done, but they said he was a big kid, so maybe, and he knows Taekwondo, so maybe he could have done a lot. I don't know. But no, you are not the asshole for saying that. That was totally in the right. It worked. I mean, if it works, like, what can you do? But maybe I would talk to your son again and be like, hey, I said that, but we're not, explain it more thoroughly. Like, we're not gonna be doing that kind of stuff because it's wrong, because, it doesn't make us feel good, blah, 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 whatever. This is a hard one. Saying that to a kid is, like, kind of insane, but when you put it in this context and with what happened after, I think it was good, because if you had just said it to your son privately, then something might have actually happened, and that actually happening, it wouldn't be good for the kid or any of the other kids. And then if you had said that to the principal privately, the principal would probably be like, okay, whatever. You having told the kid in front of them, that's the combination that I think made it click. Good for you, but talk with your kid, because, you don't want something bad to actually happen. Alright, next one. Am I the asshole for only doing the bare minimum when I got roped into babysitting? My sister, 38, invited me over for a family meal. Our parents were there too. After dinner, my mom and I helped clean up while my dad and brother-in-law watched my nieces and nephews. Afterwards, my parents left. Then my sister and brother-in-law asked me if I could watch the kids for an hour while they went for a quick errand. I agreed. So, maybe this is just me, but when someone asks me to do something like that last second, like something kind of big like that, man, I can't stand it. You need to let me know. I'm a person who needs that schedule, who needs to know ahead of time, but I kind of get it. Like, you're in a tough spot, especially if maybe, like, I don't know, you don't see them all the time or something like that. I get it, but I've seen situations like this so many times where someone I know, like a friend of mine, usually agrees to babysitting, and then it's not just for a quick amount of time. It's for hours and hours and hours into the night, into the AM, and it ruins their schedule. It ruins anyone they had plans with, like their schedule too. It is just it's so self-centered to do that. And I've glanced over the rest of this. Let's continue. They got very dressed up for errands, but I didn't ask. They've done this before. I didn't usually have anything going on, so I don't really mind. Today I was clear that I had plans and 1 hour was my limit. They will never stick to that. They will never stick to that. If I've learned anything from my friend, they will never stick to that. If they're getting very dressed up too, red flag, be like, oh, never mind. I have to go now. Just leave. What are they gonna do? Because if someone's using you like that, that's not a good relationship, and either they can fix it if they care about you, or if they don't care about you, then good riddance, right? My sister agreed to 1 hour. After an hour, I called and she didn't answer. Half an hour later, I texted my friends and said I couldn't make it. Then I proceeded to keep the kids alive. I felt I owed her that as family. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's hard. I would be interested to know how old these kids are. Maybe we'll find out later. But depending on the kid's age, you might have been able to just leave. And if they had a problem with that, say, hey, we agreed on an hour. You weren't here. I thought it was they're old enough to be okay. I tried contacting you. You didn't answer. That's on you. These are your kids. If you want them alive, then, if they're old enough, obviously, if they weren't old enough, you would be there. You would make sure they're alive no matter what, because these are kids. They don't know better. But if they're old enough, but the parents are like paranoid, then whatever, dude. They can get over it. Did I put them to sleep? Nope. Did I make them a snack rather than let them use the stove? Yes. Did I keep the little one from drawing on the walls while his older brother played Fortnite and the middle kid watched Stranger Things with me? No. I kept them alive. I mean, yeah. My sister got home a little after 1 a.m. Oh my gosh. Nephew was still playing Fortnite, middle kid and I were still binging Stranger Things. Little was passed out on their bed. I got up and left. I've been hearing about it for a few days now, about how irresponsible I am. That 12 is too young for such a scary show. That my nephew has limited screen time, that they still haven't got the drawings off the walls. My parents are getting involved as well. Hang on, man. Hold on. You were called irresponsible for staying, even though you said you had a time limit. The rest doesn't matter. You stayed. That's responsible. But the thing is, these kids aren't your responsibility. They were your responsibility for that 1 hour. I don't know how much you know about the kids' rules and whatever, but I was 12. When did Stranger Things come out? 2016? I was around that age when I watched it. Limited screen time. I mean, I remember usually when kids are over somewhere else, like babysitting or whatever, or being babysat, screen times usually they're not stuck to. That's just what happens. And if you didn't know these things, if you didn't know that this nephew has a limited screen time, then that's not your fault. To me, it sounds like they didn't say anything about it and you didn't know, especially you didn't mention it before, but and that they still haven't gotten the drawings off the walls. Well, the drawing one, I kind of get a little bit, because that's kind of hard. I mean, I guess if, I don't know, I'm on your side, but it's not that hard to stop that, I guess, right? I don't know. I guess if it didn't happen in the hour that you said, agreed to, that you were gonna watch them, then whatever, right? But being called irresponsible, it's like narcissistic. I really don't care. I was told 1 hour. I agreed to 1 hour. I feel that I did a great job for 1 hour. Not really my problem after that. So 4 people think I'm being an asshole. 3 kids had a great night, and I think they won't try it again. There you go. You said they did this before. They learned their lesson. People who take advantage of you need a hard lesson like that. Sounds like they learned it. The kids weren't harmed at all. I mean, really, like, if the 12-year-old kid watching Stranger Things is okay, and, more screen time isn't gonna kill a kid, and oh no, drawings on the walls, it sounds fine to me. They learned, no, you are not the asshole. They are, actually. I, I don't know how your parents aren't on your side, but hey, either they'll get with the program or they're not worth your time. That's kind of my motto, yeah. Next one, and this is probably gonna be the last one for this video. Am I the asshole for getting a woman fired over VeggieTales? Okay, this sounds interesting. My wife and I unfortunately have our son in daycare. It's unavoidable. A few months ago I picked him up, and when I asked him about his day, he told me about a show they watched with cartoon veggies. When I dropped him off the next day, I asked the teacher if they watched VeggieTales. She said they didn't show the kids anything inappropriate. I asked, but did they watch VeggieTales? She refused to give me a straight answer. I said I don't want him to watch VeggieTales. She said he wasn't going to be allowed to watch anything inappropriate. So I guess the daycare doesn't consider it inappropriate. Considering what kind of daycare this is, because VeggieTales is like a Christian show, right? So if it's like a Christian daycare, then yeah, they're gonna think that. I watched VeggieTales growing up. It's not anything horrible, really, but if you're of a different religion or atheist, or just, you don't want anything pressured on your child, especially at a daycare when you're not there, then yeah, I mean, that's kind of inappropriate to begin with. That day when I got home, I asked, did you watch VeggieTales? He did. I emailed the administration. They assured me, no VeggieTales. It is not an approved media to show the kids. It has never and will never be shown. The next week I asked, did you watch VeggieTales? Yep. I reached out again and I'm told maybe my son is confused. Right. I don't know, a kid saying it that many times. Either he's messing with you or something tells me that this lady, something ain't right. She shouldn't be working in a public school setting, right? So I wait a week, ask my boss if I can leave early, walk past the receptionist. She told me to stop, but I didn't. Into the main room, and boom, there it is, VeggieTales. I took a picture. I was given a warning for barging in. Fair. Yeah, you definitely shouldn't have done that, especially if there's kids. Well, obviously there's kids there. VeggieTales is being played. I would have rethought that choice, but you did get proof. But the administration promised the VeggieTales thing would be solved. The teacher had to take all the tapes home. She had the tapes there. So you're telling me that this was a reoccurring issue and no one checked the room to see what was going on? I don't get that. And she would not be able to bring in tapes ever again. Next week, did you watch VeggieTales? No, Dad. Great. Following week, did you watch VeggieTales? Yup. Oh, the thing about this, I'll say it again. I watched VeggieTales growing up and I enjoyed it and it didn't seem super harmful. I haven't watched it recently. I didn't really watch it that much growing up. So I don't know the full extent, and I don't know what it's like now either, because I know it's updated, so it could be more, intense. But there's certain things in a public school setting with so much diversity, and especially with kids that young, you can't be doing that. You're not in a high school history class or religion class, learning about these things. You're a young kid in daycare who is super impressionable. And yes, I know Christians feel it is their duty to share, God's word, the Bible, whatever. But you also have to think about how other people feel, other people's feelings. If you think they're in the wrong, then, that's your opinion. You're allowed to think that they're in the wrong. But you can't force it upon someone. And you especially can't force it upon a child. It's like forcing anything else upon a child. You shouldn't be doing it. No matter what, your stance is or whatever, there's certain settings where you can't force certain topics on children. And, maybe this still doesn't seem right, but maybe one time, just showing them that, okay. I don't love that idea because, again, impressionable, but I'm also on the side of letting kids know about things of the world at a young age is great. If you showed them a cartoon from a different religion too, and another one. But that can be really tricky. That's a really tricky area, and I don't know much about it. So it's a hard one to talk about, I guess. And the fact that she did it again, that's the red flag, I think. And especially that she was lying, that's the first red flag, right? So I emailed again. At this point, I start getting other people involved. The Anti-VeggieTales Coalition. Oh, okay. Even some of the Christian parents were annoyed. One woman watches it at home with her daughter, and she didn't want it watched at daycare because if her daughter has questions, she wants to be asked, not the teacher. I totally get that, because religion is super, everyone has their own interpretation, and this is your child. You want to raise them the way that you think is right. So I totally understand that. Great, join the Anti-VeggieTales Coalition. The resolution was that the teacher got fired. Wow. But yeah, I mean, that's just kind of that policy of like public daycares and schools. You cannot be doing that. Like when I was little, we had like Christmas parties, but then eventually we had to get rid of those because they weren't open to everyone. Not everyone celebrates Christmas, so it turned into the winter party, which at that age, of course I didn't like it at that age, but as I grew up I understood why, and I get it and I appreciate it. You can't do that kind of stuff in public school. If it was a private school, like a Christian private school or whatever, yeah. But public, yeah, you can't be doing that. There's just so much diversity. It is unfair to force that on kids, especially if the kids are practicing a different religion. It can confuse them, and I don't know, that's just a whole other thing, I guess. Now there's a backlash against me. People feel bad, they feel guilty. It's all my fault. I pressured them into making it a big deal. They're just animated vegetables. Even my wife said I pulled a me and went on the warpath. Am I the asshole, or should she have just left her animated vegetables at home? Ooh, this is such a tricky one. I think I've explained like my thought process thoroughly enough, but at such a young age, when kids are impressionable, you can't be sharing stuff like that, especially because the parents want to raise their children a certain way. It's not a high school religion class, and if you wanted to do it, you should have gotten permission from all of the children's parents. And lying to the parent, red flag. Stopping and then starting it again, red flag. I think the only thing is don't barge into a daycare class. That's the only thing that was like, uh-oh. But no, I don't think you're the asshole. This is a tricky one. I liked VeggieTales, but, you know, not every parent is the same way, and that's totally okay. You are not the asshole. Okay, guys, that's gonna be it for this one. I hope you enjoyed just some of my opinions I thought I would share. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. If you enjoyed this one, check out my other videos. I especially recommend the Five Nights at Freddy's episode. I've got some good ideas. I'm just waiting on a PC. I don't have one. I'm using a MacBook, which is why it's so loud. There's all that background noise. But I wanna play a bunch of different games. I especially want to get into modded Minecraft, do some ranking stuff. I want to play Marvel Rivals, which I technically could do, but I'm worried about the frame rate. And then like Steam games and just stuff like that. It's gonna be so fun. If you have suggestions, put it in the comments. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.